Okay, so this week my vlog is going to kind of be all over the place because I have a lot of different thoughts in a lot of different places and I'm going to be jumping around a lot. But first I want to talk about my image that I chose. I chose the tornado because this week we had, I guess it's state tornado awareness across Virginia, and so we did our tornado drill. And I know it's good to be prepared and things, but it kind of reminded me of the 1950s duck and cover drills. Just the way that it was like, oh, in the event of a tornado, you know, Miss Hoff is going to take you out into the pod hall and you're just going to line up against the wall. And, you know, I mean, these are 7th graders. You're going to put your head down so that glass doesn't get in your face. As if the 7th graders aren't going to be panicking and freaking out. And I'm not going to be panicking as I grab the first aid kit. And, we're just all going to line up. No kid's going to be like, look, a tornado, or anything like that. I mean, it was a little bit, to me, it was almost, like, why don't we prepare for a weather-related plan that we might actually be able to implement in a disaster-type situation? At least that's how I felt. But the tornado plan drill also served as kind of a good metaphor for how I am feeling about my, everything in this crazy student teaching experience. I feel like there's a coming storm, and it's just overwhelming me with electronic portfolios, projects, planning for my war unit, just getting a day-to-day basis at the school. It's all just kind of coming together to this perfect funnel twister kind of situation, and I'm like freaking out because I know that in a couple of weeks I'm going to be with the rest of my cohort in this war unit thing because I'm going to be planning full time and taking over lessons, and they're, oh, I can only stay a day ahead, so I'm like, is that going to be me in 2 weeks? And I'm trying to prep for it, but with the way things change so often and the way plans have to be adjusted, it's like I'm planning for, nothing, and maybe it's just freaking me out more. I also wanted to just talk about, how overwhelming it is to have these projects that we have, and like every day I feel like I think of something new to add to it. So like today I was thinking about it and I was like, oh goodness, I'm doing their writing for student growth in their notebooks. How am I going to make sure that they all have them done? Because the way that the notebooks work is you assign something and they have till the very end of the unit to turn it in. Well, I'm not going to be there at the end of the war unit because they're going to have to do the Cold War and wrap up other wars that I'm not going to be teaching because I'll be gone May 1st. So how am I going to make sure that I get these assignments done and I can photocopy them? I mean, again, I'm going to have to take these kids' notebooks and photocopy these assignments out of there. And it's just like all of these kind of contingencies and little things that I hadn't thought about because I'm trying to work this massive project into an already structured classroom that isn't very easy to change, especially with 7th graders, because they get into patterns and they get into habits and they don't like to be altered. I mean, we even have problems when we try to tape, creative picture type assignments on the right side of the notebook because that right side is notes and left side's creative. Why are we putting pictures on this side? It belongs over here. If that little thing, that little tiny change is causing this much confusion and panic, how much more confusion is it going to create for me to be like, oh, I'm collecting your notebooks early, but you're not getting a grade, it's just so I can see them and comment, there's just so many elements to think about, and I just really haven't had the time to consider all of them. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was just kind of on a different track, just kind of today at the middle school we watched Time for Justice. It's a video about the civil rights movement, and it is profoundly, it has a profound impact on the students and on everybody that sees it. I've never seen the students be this quiet during a video, be this engaged and just watching, and throughout the day we kept hearing reports of that was the saddest thing I've ever seen. They would come in and they'd heard from their friends that social studies was really depressing and sad and even scary. Some of them used the word scary, and they would all came in and they were, and then they watched the video and they just left kind of, just really in their own thoughts. And at first I thought, it was going to be okay for me because I previewed the video at my house, and so I knew what to expect. It wasn't. We watched it in first period. All of us, the aides, my cooperating teacher, me, we all had tears in our eyes. We couldn't do it. Third and fourth period, that's right before lunch. I was like, it overwhelms you with sadness. And, and throughout the day I kept feeling that till the end of the period. I had to block it out. Like, I really had to go and do other work and just kind of go in my own world. I mean, I was sitting there in the classroom, but I wasn't watching the video because I couldn't. I mean, 5 times was just too much in one day. And not because I was bored, but because I was overwhelmed by these emotions. And I was sitting there and I was looking at these kids and I was being like, I'm struggling with these emotions. I'm 21 years old, been through a master's program, gotten my bachelor's degree in history, and I'm struggling with this, and I'm sitting here with tears in my eyes. I'm asking 12 and 13-year-olds to process this information. It blows my mind sometimes, the level of thinking that they do. And I'm so proud of them for dealing with this so effectively, because it's something that I think grown people don't deal with effectively. So that was a real it was a trial and a tribulation, because it was overwhelming, but just in the way that my middle schoolers handled it, it just makes you so proud as somebody that's in their lives and shaping it, because you know that you're really making them better people, and you can see that just in the way that they've handled this level of discussion.